welcome everyone to the Sigma Show, episode 87. I'm your host Sigma. Before I let you know who's joining me today, quick public service announcement. If you're listening to this and you're like, where the hell did episode 86 go? Sorry, I deleted it last week on accident before I downloaded it and made it a podcast. So that's my bad. There's literally no way to get it back. So it exists in the minds of those who watched it live. And it'll forever be known as the greatest episode I've ever done. So I apologize.
Wow, title too.
Real sorry.
I mean, no one can disprove
if you go read the title of it, it's on my Twitter feed because it's not going to show up in the podcast list, I guess, because there's just no entry there.
Damn.
But anyhow, today we have brand new topics about brand new things that won't change your life. But our first topic is a lot of news about Henry Cavill these days. Apparently, he's no longer going to be Superman at DC, but almost at the same time, he's announced that he will be executive producing and starring in a Warhammer 40K series made for Amazon. So we'll get into the nitty-gritty of that whole situation. And also something very recent that I thought was very, very interesting was that Valve and a number of other gaming publishers were actually being sent letters from the U.S. Senate asking them to address kind of the blatant extremism, sexism, misogyny, kind of growing in some of those communities. And they have, I believe, until certain dates next year to actually make a response as to what it is they're doing to curb this sort of growth in their communities. So I want to kind of dive into that, like whether there's a case to be made and like what these companies actually can do to deal with it, if it is indeed a problem. But here to talk to me about these things today, Ash Redux.
What's up, everybody? I streamed yesterday. That's all I got. That's
Congrats.
all I'm saying.
Congrats.
Yes.
Well done. The other Frost.
I did not stream yesterday because I've been streaming too much.
Oh,
You streamed literally on 2 different streams yesterday. What are you talking about?
Did I? No, like I didn't drive.
You were on game night and you were on wishlist.
Being
he
on
streamed
one
so
that-
much
Oh wait,
that
I
he
did
forgot he streamed.
He legit forgot.
You streamed
He
literally
absolutely
4
forgot.
hours.
Oh my god,
That was
Well, I
like
did-
a sixth of the day.
it really was. Wow. Oh man, my brain is melted. This is what
I
Twitch
need those
does to
problems.
you. And you
I
too.
want to be you when I grow up.
Do you? No.
Wow.
A fire truck.
And finally, Marty Sleva.
I also streamed yesterday. We all streamed yesterday. We got a bunch of yesterday.
Yeah,
streams.
it's a problem. We should probably get looked at.
Not for me. It's been 2 months. I needed.
What
to
did you
stream.
stream yesterday?
But you just relapsed. So welcome back to AA with the rest of us.
What did you stream?
What did I stream?
Yeah, out of curiosity.
Just COD. It was more the discussion. The COD was just
Okay.
there to be in background. we
That
talked
seems
about
like the role of
Pokemon.
COD nowadays.
We talked about Pokemon. So.
You should stream Pokemon and talk about COD. Think about that. No, let's see what that does for the numbers, huh? Engagement.
Okay, all right. I feel that. Spaz won't show up, but
This will not show up.
But so that's everyone who's joining me today. Let's jump right into what we usually do, which is what we've been playing / watching / doing with our lives outside of video games. Or that's actually not true because what you've been playing would involve video games. So anybody want to jump in first?
been playing the
and save me
numbers,
from myself?
KC. Be playing the numbers, right? Because
What is that?
Lotto?
lottery?
yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be
Elder
video
Lotto?
games. I've been playing the numbers, man. No, but
I can't bring myself to like spend money on the lottery. Even when those jackpots get to like in the billions and billions, like the chances of me getting it have decreased because like even more
yes.
people.
I also
are
think
gonna
they just
play,
make
right?
up a person who wins every time. I don't think it's a real person. They're just like, oh, and
They just keep that money.
Jill Anderson from Battle
would
Creek,
you know?
Michigan. Congrats.
This is the perfect scam, actually.
No,
I
it
never thought of
really
that.
is. Actually, I forgot what that scam is called, but it's sort of like you're going to raffle a Lamborghini, right? But it only costs you $1 to get into it. So you're like, all right, this person won. You come in and they're like, oh, sorry, bro. Like the Lambo's not there. Have your $1 back. But you keep everybody else's.
But
you can
everybody
just refund them.
everybody
Yeah,
else-
just refund them. And nobody else will question it. Don't think
Yeah.
someone won the Lambo. Wow.
Wow.
They're just like, damn,
But-
I got my $1 back.
But here, you know what? Take 5
take 5
on us.
on us, on all the other contestants. Here you go. For me, I have not been playing the numbers. I don't gamble. Not real gambling, only office gambling with fake monetary value. But that's beside the point. I've been playing nothing. Wow, except for COD, I guess.
You
'cause
just
I played
said
that
you streamed
yesterday. I
COD
said I
yesterday.
played that. That yes. Yes.
What's going on
Leave
with Call
me.
of Duty? Well, teach us.
What's going on with COD? Rocket League is in Call of Duty now. There you go.
Yeah, I saw that. What's the deal with that?
Huh?
Look at KC. He
Please
said, "Wait."
explain. Please explain. Because I've also noticed Rocket League is in Fortnite. My son plays a lot of Rocket
Rocket League's
League.
in everything,
Fortnite.
dog. It's everything. Everywhere.
They have ATV. It's a limited time thing. It's not staying.
Okay.
Unless it blows up, but I don't think it will. It's definitely like a nice little, oh, here's a funny thing to do in COD for a little bit. But you're on ATVs. Soccer arena looks very reminiscent of Rocket League. And you drive around your ATV. It has a boost. You can floor it. Okay. And that's about it. It doesn't have rockets, but that's about it. Yeah, it's like fake Rocket League within the Call of Duty world and engine. I was like, oh wow, cool. I don't mind them doing silly stuff as long as it's not something that they expect us to take seriously. But if they just want to keep doing a bunch of silly stuff in their in the world of Call of Duty, I don't mind it. It's a fun distraction every now and again from shooting.
Why
But
not?
excuse me. But what I've been watching, okay, especially after the news, is Pokemon. Okay, I haven't watched Pokemon in God knows how long. I remember when they first did the whole master ceremony thing. I was like, oh, that sounds actually really interesting. I'll wait till it's over to watch it, see how it all plays out. Then I remember hearing a little while ago how Ash won and became the number one trainer ever. And I said, oh, it finally happened. It took 25 years. I'm 27, so I want you guys to know I've literally been invested my whole life. I may not watch the anime, but I kept following what happened.
Yeah, I would like those updates. It was like, oh, Ash just did a thing that he hasn't been able to do in several years. I'll be like, you know what? Good on him.
Ash became champion of the Low region. Oh, look at that. You did it. I mean, you're the first champion, so it wasn't that hard. But, it didn't
I
have
remember when that kid first left Pallet Town, man. He was all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. He got electrocuted, I think, by a rat. But, he walked it off.
He's been in a coma the whole time. With theories online, But, but I heard that he went. I was like, oh, man, let me go back and watch it. I've heard other people who I know actually watched. They're like, yeah, it was actually pretty emotional for people who've been there, actually, especially watching anime this whole time. I don't care though. I'm just gonna watch that part. I'm not going back. It's too late now for me.
I wanna watch most of that tournament arc, and I wanna follow the show to the end. I want to see like those final 11 episodes that they have coming up that are gonna say goodbye to Ash properly. Like I definitely for sure want to see that.
Which, mind you, I didn't know that was the case when I heard the news. Like Ash and Pikachu are being retired as the main protagonist. I thought they were just done with he won, we did it, which actually more so upset me. But now I heard that they're doing an actual send-off with 11 more episodes. I'm much more excited about that. I don't know how far they're going to go. I figure they should do like one more big movie too before the next Pokemon series comes out. Give them a movie, age them up. That would
make sense. Yeah, like probably get some special movie.
Call
I don't think
Pokemon
they're going to age them up for the show. The Pokemon, the last movie.
The first one was the first movie.
Oh, they won't do that. There's too much money in that, but they should.
I thought it was a pun on like The Last Dance. It was like, oh, no. Okay.
Just interviews for Pokemon.
Yeah, it's like a documentary series
that I took this seriously.
Ash just wrote.
Like I just wasn't
That
feeling
would be
it.
amazing.
And I took that personally, and it'd just be Gary the whole time, and I took that personally with everything Gary ever said. But yeah, no, I'm it's funny. If you go back like 15 years ago, I'd be like, man, they should really get a new protagonist. But it's weird when I get to this point where it's almost like I accepted Ash was never going to go anywhere, and now that he and Pikachu are going. And I'm like, Pikachu won't even be the Pokemon. There's going to be a new generation of Pokemon fans that won't see Pikachu as the mascot. And I don't know how they can keep that going.
I don't think that that's possible.
But
I don't think they can just, like, even if it takes years at this point, like they've already cemented the fact that Pikachu is the face of Pokemon.
Yeah, not Ash. It's all about Pikachu.
Yeah, it's like they sell so much Pikachu leaning merchandise. But I cannot imagine that they would, one, stop doing that, or two, have another Pokemon circumvent that. Like Pikachu is, he's
and I hear you, but the merch comes from the show, and if Pikachu isn't a main reoccurring character in the show, how are they going to sell that merch? Kids are going to want the merch of the Pokemon that they see all the time. Like older fans will want Pikachu. Don't get me wrong. We have money.
But that's what I'm saying, because those kids don't have money. So like when they go to the Pokemon store, they're like, oh, I want Garbageur. The parents were like, you know what? Take fucking Pikachu, because this Pokemon looks weird to me.
All I'm saying, I feel like 10 years from now, I just don't see Pikachu still being on top, and that bothers me a little bit.
I'm a Pikachu loyalist. I can't fathom it.
Yeah, it'll almost be like how Mickey remained the face of Disney
Yeah,
Despite
he
the
hasn't
fact
had
that
a,
like Mickey wasn't doing shit in the 90s. Like
yeah, he
that was
hasn't
all
had
Simba.
cartoons for like several years.
Yeah, like Simba and Aladdin were like lifting the weight there. And now you got fucking Luke
But they kept
Skywalker.
hiding Mickeys. They hide Mickeys in all these things.
So they're gonna hide Pikachu's all over this.
They
Maybe.
very well
It's be a
might,
single flash
actually.
like in Fight Club. He'll just splice
A singular
It's the
frame.
subconscious Pikachu, and it's Detective Pikachu of all the
Yeah.
Pikachus.
Yeah, like Pikachu has his own movie. Like it's called like they're gonna do a sequel, I believe, right? Detective
It's
Pikachu
weird
2.
that they haven't.
I feel like they
already.
should have done that.
'Cause
Yeah,
that
it's
was
been
like-
a while.
Ryan
5 years
Reynolds,
ago?
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
they should. I imagine. That man has a thing for sequels.
So like, yeah,
He likes the sequels.
like if you're gonna make another Pokemon movie, which I'm sure they will, because that first one did a lot of money, you're gonna put Pikachu in it. You're not gonna not do that. So like Pikachu will live on in other media. Like,
Oh.
he'll continue to be the face of Pokemon, but the series, I guess, will just go in a different direction.
We'll see. I'm just worried. It bothers me a little bit. It makes me actually feel old now. I feel like Spaz when he talks about how young everyone else is. That's how I feel about the next generation of Pokemon
Oh,
trainers.
what is past like 75? What's going on here?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, how old is Spaz?
Something like that.
This can't be 75. Do we think this final arc is just going to be like Ash slowly going back home and kind of like revisiting spots? Is it going to be like a victory lap kind of thing? Like,
Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything because something was spoiled for me because you know they
Oh,
over
wow.
report on everything,
Yeah.
but like they showed like a scene of something that
oh,
if you watch the original series,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
you'd be like,
with
oh, cool,
a
that
returning
matters.
Pokemon, yeah.
Right? Yeah, so it's like it's
Um,
probably gonna be like a ton of nostalgia bait just like that. But like, yeah, the
I
idea
think
of
it's
him like
fine.
going back home.
He earned a victory lap, yeah.
And in the end,
Wait, hold on, is he still 12?
He's 10.
I think he's got
10.
like
He's still 10.
he's got
let
parts
me
of-
let me confirm this. He was
Because if he goes
10.
back home,
He became 11 and became 12, and then they retconned him back to 10. And then he stayed there. He just stayed there.
so you got to sacrifice a lot to become Pokemon Master, I guess. Right?
he's gonna come back home and then punch Professor Oak in the face. Get off my mom.
Get off his mom. They hang out a lot. I agree with Frost. They do hang out a lot. I'm just saying.
Go be the best that no one ever was. Get all them Pokemans.
I mean, we
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
hit your
Like
mom.
Professor Oak could be his biological father, right? We don't know that.
They need to reveal who his dad is because they actually confirmed way early on in the
mean-
show his dad was a trainer. Obviously, he's not a
Maybe
good
you'll-
one.
Yeah, maybe
but
you'll get that. But also, if his dad lived in the town with him his whole life and then just never acknowledged that it was his dad,
That's a very
but
bad
was
dad.
still seeing his mom,
Yeah, that's just weird. Like, what are you doing?
yeah, it's like, what are you
I'm gonna
doing?
become the best.
Yeah, what if I feel like his dad's gonna come back and he's gonna be like Tiger Woods' dad, where he's gonna be like, I want to get back in your life now that you have money.
What if his dad comes back and challenges him for one last fight?
And
but
he
it's
loses.
Because his
it's a
dad is the
physical
actual
fight. It's
Pokemon
like an
master.
actual fight.
and he loses. Yes.
It was like, oh, you
I
won the
love it.
championship, but are you a Pokemon Master? You never beat your dad.
Yeah. And his dad pulls out a thing, and his dad's actually a Digimon trainer.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my!
That's all
I mean,
fucking
you
Pokemon.
lost. Digimon are beating most Pokemon.
Yeah. All right, so we just spoiled those. You guys don't have to watch the 11 episodes because it's all that.
Yeah, we figured it out.
Yeah.
But that's it for me. I got
yeah,
nothing.
All right,
I
cool.
got nothing.
Anybody else want to jump in? What they've been playing, watching?
Yeah, I'll jump in.
Right,
So my plan, I'm gonna spoil this. I did not see Avatar last night. We had 9:30 tickets. So one nice thing is my theater chain here has this. AMC had it, and then my regional chain Marcus has it, where you pay. For me, it's $20 a month, and I get 3 free movies a week. So for $20 a month, I can see up to 12 movies in my theater.
Oh, dang.
And it somehow works on night showings, 3D showings, and Avatar, like at 3D at night was like almost $20. So I'm like, why wouldn't you just have this thing? So anyways, we went to dinner after game night last night, and I kept pushing what time we were gonna go, and I was like, we'll go to the 9:30 showing. I'm like, we'll go to the 10:30 showing. I'm like, there's 11:30, and eventually we were like, if we go to 11:30 showing, this is gonna get out like 4 in the morning. And so I did not see Avatar. However, in the world of video games, on Friday I streamed the entirety of this new a short hike like. There has to be a better name for that. A hike like.
A hike
A hike like called Little Gator Game. Just came out this week. We actually have a 3MR up on the channel from Will. It's a great little video. Check that out. And yeah, it's from a first-time developer, but it's published by Playtonic, who are the developers of Yooka-Laylee, which was that like Banjo-Kazooie spiritual successor. Yeah. The game was really successful, and so they've kind of like started their own like mini indie publishing label. But like a short hike, the game is kind of like a chill vibes, non-combat small micro open world exploration game that is taking liberally from Zelda. Like a short hike takes a lot of the traversal mechanics of Breath of the Wild, like the stamina meter and just little things like this. Little Gator story or little Gator game takes it even further by like not directly referencing, but clearly being like it's this like little brother and his big sister and their friends wanting to play this like make believe adventure game that is clearly modeled after Zelda. Like he's like, I want to wear a green tunic, and they're like, you're a crocodile, you're already green, like you're fine, you don't need to, you don't need a tunic.
Just get naked, bro.
Just get naked. You're like exactly like Link. Like I named the character Lonk, and people who came into the game was like, oh, they named the character Lonk, so clearly, like obviously they knew it was inspired by Zelda. Like, no, I did that. So
no, that was you.
But the fact that people thought that. But yeah, I think it has these really like it's only a couple hours long. It has a really great writing and really great characters. Like this awesome sense of playfulness of the small like micro open world island where you're running around and exploring and like defeating cardboard enemies. They don't fight back or anything, so it's like a zero fail state kind of game. Doing little side quests for characters and finding out their backstory. It has like you really wanna kind of collect everything because you can unlock new like weapon types which just sort of have a different effect. Like there's like one that's like a lightsaber and so it looks like a lightsaber, one that's like a paintbrush and it'll splatter paint everywhere. And you can unlock new hats. The most amazing hat is you unlock a Naruto headband and when your character runs, you do the Naruto run.
That
it just
really
changes the running animation. So that was like really incredible. Funny. Like does nothing to like actually impact the gameplay, but it's just like every time I unlock something new, I want to. Yeah, it was really neat.
Doesn't change a thing.
Yeah, and it has and it ultimately has like a really super heartfelt message about like you keep wanting your big sister to play the game with you, but she's busy because she's in college and she has to do this assignment, and so it's like you trying to make the game as cool as possible to lure her away from her work, but you not being able to understand that like her work is like really important and that kind of stuff. So coming to terms with that, my only like major cons against it was that even though I like the writing, the literal dialogue back and forth go on a long time. And whereas like a short hike, like part of its magic was in its brevity, like every conversation lasts like 3 lines. This thing was like, oh my God, this is like, you guys are fucking talking forever. Like, and this is nice and I like the story, but like, good God, you guys are talking for a long time.
Wow, yeah.
But I really liked the game. Yeah, finished it in a single stream. Didn't find everything, but yeah, just really, if you dug a short hike, I highly recommend this. Came out on PC and Switch this week. Its normal price is $20, which I think airs a little bit on the heavy side, but I think for the first week it's down to like 12, which I think is great. I think that's a perfect price for that. So,
nice.
Yeah, check that out.
Adorable.
Highly recommend it.
Okay. I honestly don't have anything. I've been just eyeballs deep.
You ain't done nothing this week? All right.
No. I mean, I got a review planned for Blacktail, which I guess is out now.
Is it?
So I haven't done the review yet, but you know what? I'll go ahead and
Well, it's a little taste.
talk about it.
It's garbage.
Yeah, it's no. I actually had a decent time with it. I gravitated to it because when Nick put in the chat, he had the tagline "archery-based combat." So it's a first-person shooter, but like all you have is a bow, and like you have to deal with enemies with like different types of arrows and like movement abilities and stuff. But honestly, that aspect of it is probably the weakest one. Like it doesn't really spend a ton of time on the archery combat. Like you have a very limited amount of things you can do. Like you can shoot the bow, you can use kind of a magical ability that turns the bow into sort of a close range shotgun. So like if you're getting mobbed by enemies, you can like push them all back, and then you kind of have like when you're not aiming the bow, a general shove with magic that if things are flying at you like little magical orbs or whatever, you can like deflect them and bounce them back, whatever. But my issue with that is that all the enemies kind of have the same actions for the most part. Like almost all of them will just run straight up to you. Some faster than others, but in general, what you're supposed to do as an archer is run away. And like there's a dash button that has a little bit of a cooldown, but it's tedious, like more so than it is fun. Like I was hoping for like a big single player story featuring Hanzo from Overwatch, because like it feels great to run around, dash in the air and like shoot people with that guy's bow, and this just doesn't feel like that.
To feel like Skyrim archery.
Well, no, because I had fun with Skyrim Archery.
All right.
Skyrim Archery is like very powerful. That's probably why. Like this, you don't feel as strong in this. Like it takes a couple of arrows for even some of the weakest enemies, even if you're headshotting or whatever. But outside of that, the setting is like based in like Slavic folklore, and I don't know like a ton about Slavic lore other than like the phrase Baba Yaga.
Oh hell yeah, love my Baba Yagas.
But like that's
Keanu
kind of the
Reeves
core
is
of
in
what
it?
this. But that's kind of the core of what the story is about. Like it's kind of like telling you the origins of like the witch myth or whatnot, right? But it's using like kind of these Hansel and Gretel-esque like very dark storybook characters. And like there's a lot of stuff going on that's being hinted at you and thrown at you that at first I felt like they're just kind of telling me what the end of this game is. And they are, because the writing at some point kind of acknowledges it. Like they know that they're hinting at what the big reveal is, but they make it so that that's not actually the story. Like the story is kind of how you get from point A to point B. And like they kept that completely like super interesting. Like you're meeting all sorts of weird characters who are like telling you stories about other characters. There was like cool sequences where you're sort of getting bits and pieces of what I'm sure are just well-known Slavic folk stories, right? They're like, oh, the rock people, because apparently there are rock people, but the rock people had a vote on which way, which gravity they would accept. Like, because humans are just on the ground, but rocks apparently have the option of choosing. And so, like, at one point they had like a kingdom that was just in the sky and like all their shit was upside down. But then, like, you know, a vote happened. It was like, all right, no, we'll stay on the ground with the humans, whatever. So, like, stuff like that. Like, I just never heard a story like that before, but clearly that's come from, you know, their culture. And I found that really interesting. And like they really let you play in that world, and like it looks really cool. All the voice acting in the game is like really, really strong, but it's also very over the top, but like in a good way. Like I didn't feel like it was cheesy, even though some of the dialogue is. But like the way they delivered it all, like just felt really, really, really fitting. So overall, like I really did enjoy the experience. Like I do wish the combat had been a lot more fun, but outside of that, like I really liked running around that world.
Was it a pretty short game?
It can be, like if you beeline it, like
Yeah.
it actually is a big open world, and there's a bunch of side stuff that you can do. Surprisingly,
Interesting.
I was very shocked at how big the world actually was. Like at first I thought it was more of a linear thing, but like, it really opens up, and you can really get lost and run into a bunch of stuff that has nothing to do with what the game is telling you to do. So like that's the thing you can dive into. I did only a couple of those, but the main story was actually really interesting. I was able to kind of laser focus on that.
Very cool. Is that on consoles, do you know, or is that only PC?
That is on, I believe, only current gen, so no PS4 or Xbox One.
Sorry,
as well as
poors.
PC.
No, I shouldn't say that to the poors. I'm sorry, poors.
But yeah, that does it for me. I've not watched anything new. I'm still finishing up Kipo in the Age of Wonder Beast though. But I'm trying to write a thing about that. I keep putting that off because I got all the other stuff to do. I'll write about those cartoons one day, I promise.
There you go. Right about we'll slide him in during Christmas. We'll do a little Christmas break. Or afterwards, doesn't matter. Fucking we're all gonna die eventually. That got really bleak. I just meant
This is the last
Not
Christmas.
me.
Not me. It's I, the Baba Yaga.
Yeah, I am the man of no will or focus.
But yeah, anything you want to share for us? That pretty much does it for me.
All right. I actually did play a lot of things and watched a lot of things. I'm because I go through a lot of demos through the day to, I don't know, try and keep up with the industry or whatever, to give my life some sense of meaning. And I've been finding games that are like nothing new, but they don't do this this horrible habit of just adding fat to games that already exist, right? It seems like they've taken the fundamentals and they've actually pushed them somewhere else. So funny enough, even in the chat, appreciate the biddies for Sigma, but you also you
I just
mentioned
noticed that.
Limbo. I played the demo of Bramble the Mountain King, which is a Limbo like.
I played that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and it actually was like really, well, first off, like the graphics and everything are crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's impressive. Super cinematic, and they are taking that just, I don't know what you would call that genre, that progress on, that trek onwards, I guess is what we'll call them.
Yeah.
And it is just providing like a wee bit of story, wee bit of gameplay, and it's just playing with your emotions the entire time. And I was like, all right, that's nice to see. And I played Soaring, which if you haven't played Get Over It, you know, that meant to spike your blood pressure game, that one. It is that, but you're a little tiny chicken who's flying. Flying is like kind of hard to control, right? and you're moving on the platforms. If you fall off improperly, you probably end up at the like all the way back to where you started, and you're gonna have an aneurysm. But it's also got some moments where it was like kind of cheeky with me, where it's sort of like, all right, go this way, you go that way, but it is very much not where you were supposed to be going. I was like, all right. So this game, it's almost like that banterous friend you got that you smack each other a little too hard, but you're like, "Yo, what's up, bud?" It's
Oh
like,
no, we drew blood.
yeah, you drew first blood, not me. And then what else I got? I got Click to Escape, which is like Vampire Survivors, but it's also like super hot. Everything only moves when you're moving, so you can queue up.
Okay.
You can you click on something and your little spaceship just takes off, right? Depending on how long the distance was, and things will only move after once it's progressing, which is like really crazy. But that's what I enjoy of even though everyone hates it's just like Vampire Survivors. I've played them all. I've played Vampire Survivors but Catholic, Vampire Survivors but axolotls.
Wait, what is?
Yeah,
What is
Catholic?
Vampire Survivors?
yeah, but it was
I
Catholic.
played
Yeah,
Protestant Vampire Survivors, Lutheran
I
Vampire Survivors.
have played Vampire Survivors, but Diablo, like all of these, and there's only so few that actually do something with the formula. So I played like Brotato, Vampire Survivors, but you play around with the gear a lot more. Really cool with the arsenal. This is the first one that's different enough to where it's just like, all right, it almost that's what reignites that feeling of playing Vampire Survivors again. Not a reskin, but like a little reimagining, kind of hot. And then Artist Life Simulator, which I didn't know what I was getting into, but y'all ever play Doodle God?
No.
You never
No,
played
I played
Doodle
Doodle.
God?
I played Doodle Jump.
Is that part of the Doodle Jump universe?
It might be. I don't know. What is
I
Doodle
mean,
Jump?
Doodle,
like
Doodle
a-
Jump was like an early mobile game.
Oh
right?
no.
Yeah.
All right. So maybe people in the chat know, but it was a little flash game where you just start off with 4 elements. It's you fire, air, water, earth, and then you just combine them, and you're essentially reverse engineering humanity. So like fire and
Oh, is that it?
earth give you mud. Yeah, and it's a permutation game. That's all it is. It's just like, all right, what combination have I not done yet?
Where does the Doodle stuff come in?
Yeah, that's very different than Doodle Jump.
Like,
No,
that sounds very godlike. I'm
it
curious
is
about the
though.
Doodle
It's
Maybe
aspect.
to God, creating humans was just a little doodle.
It's just
Oh,
the
shit.
aesthetic. It is just a little flash game, and it's all little
okay,
doodles. It's just
gotcha.
like boom, boom, boom. So, and I was like, what happened to the series? And they just kept on doing that over and over. Like the gameplay never changed. But then this one came out, and it's sort of like you are an artist. You can be like Van Gogh, even though it doesn't explicitly say it. And you're sort of like combining. You can do 3 things. You can walk around, depending on the location. You can think, and you can paint. And with those things, you are managing your passion, your wealth, and essentially your inspiration, your depression, and all these things. And you are doing these sort of permutations, but there's also a bit of life sim aspect. So, like, I'll go through the park, and my guy is going, I'm not feeling too good, but it really reinvigorated me taking that walk. I was like, all right, let's go walking again. And he's like, all right, now my state of health is good. My heart, my cardio, it's nice. Let's go again. I got mugged. I lost money. I've lost health. He's like super depressed, but then I made him
took a turn.
think about it and paint about it, and it's just how can you take these nice feelings and make them nicer, or take these bad feelings and make money off of them? It's really like the strangest little permutation game is the only thing I can talk about. Yeah.
That's actually super interesting. Like you have a guy live a life, and then you decide what parts of that life are worthy of him putting down into his artwork.
Yeah.
Like is that stuff like kind of pre-designed, or like could you at any point have him paint, and then like just whatever has been going on will somehow manifest in his work?
It keeps going is his thing, right? So like what you call it? When he first gets there, the only thought that's like the only event that's big in his head is his arrival, right? But it's as you're going on through the town, you can like, booze up some people and whatnot. Now you've made a friend, and you can talk to this friend about things. Or now you've got like new events that have occurred to you, and that's why it's kind of like that permutation game where these different combinations can make these other thoughts and these other actions, these other things unlock, so to speak. And you're trying to not die. You're trying to not be a starving artist because you can't end up dying. And for the demo, it gave me so much, but I saw that there were other characters. Like one character, he gets inspired when he's very, very drunk. So now you're trying to manage like drinking within all the passion and all that stuff. And I guess I still have a lot of thoughts on it. But I know it was a good demo because I normally give myself like 10 to 20 minutes to be like, all right, that's all you had to impress me. But this one, I played it for a whole hour, and then I was like, oh, dang,
Oh, wow.
this isn't my game. Like, I forgot I didn't buy this. super basic, super doodle god where it should have went. That's all that feels like. And then as far as shows and movies, I did watch Avatar 2. I wrote a piece about it. I don't know if the title would be any bit of a spoiler, but seeing it as it is James Cameron, right? It's a blast from the past. You don't have to watch Avatar 1 to see Avatar 2. And
The title's not a spoiler. You said it you compared to Titanic. That's fine. He made Titanic, and it's got a bunch of water.
It is a Titanic Rick roll. You don't have to watch Avatar 1. You just got to see the back half of Titanic to watch this one. I like
Does like someone leave Jake Sully on a door? Not enough room on this door for your 9-foot ass, Jake Sully. Sorry.
But yeah, for what it's worth, I think it's more of an experience. My girlfriend, who loved the first one, didn't like this one nearly as much because she said there was less story to it. But I'm here thinking it was a great experience, and it's tried and true fundamentals from James Cameron. So don't go in here expecting he might have overhyped it just a little bit. I don't know. Maybe China really likes water. I don't know if America's going to pay for it. But
China really likes water.
Yeah, that's where most of his box office success comes from. Him and DiCaprio. China love James Cameron and DiCaprio.
Yeah, they loved.
And Matt Damon.
Apparently, it was China's decision to put Avatar back in theaters randomly. Like they was like, oh, we want to open up the movie theaters again after COVID. What's the thing to get people to go? Let's put Avatar back in. Like it wasn't James Cameron trying to take the box office record back.
Yeah,
China just did them a solid.
Yeah. China loves Genshin Impact and having it win the Best Game of the Year award, and they love.
That's right. Yeah, they love James Cameron, DiCaprio, Matt Damon, and Genshin Impact for some reason.
They must have loved when Matt Damon was in that Great Wall of China movie.
No, they did.
Let me tell you, Americans.
No, yeah, I think that's probably exactly why he was in that Great Wall of China.
Didn't China save Matt Damon in The Martian? They redone it so that's who saved him for the China release.
Oh, in like their version?
Yeah, for their release. Yeah.
Oh, well, I had no idea.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I like the idea that every movie that's released in China has like the ending is China comes to the rescue. Like all the at the end of Endgame, all those portals open up. And it's just like Chinese
and it's just the Chinese army.
They fucking stomp Thanos.
Wow. But yeah, that's it for movies and shows. I just got back into The Bear. Just
you got back into it, so you watched it once already.
Yeah, it's like 8 episodes, 25 minutes ish. It's very sort of like old school TV. Each episode self-contained with an overarching plot. It's good television. I like it.
It is good television.
Yeah, Bear's wonderful. One of my favorites of the year. I've been rewatching the first 2 seasons of Mob Psycho, because the 3rd season is about to wrap up, which apparently is just the end.
Oh, like they're like the show.
Well, they're reaching the end of the manga, and the manga has an ending, and they're at the end,
cool.
and so people.
No, I'm a fan of that.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of that. Yeah.
I kind of like that. So
like things end.
I'm almost done rewatching season 2, and then I think the finale is like Wednesday, so I'm trying to blast through all of season 3 by then. But man, Mob Psycho was great. Also, it's like fucking gorgeous. Like the animation is out of control good. And I love Mob and Reagan are just 2 wonderful little characters. And you got Dimple, a little ghost.
Reagan.
Yeah, I feel like that show is simultaneously very popular, but also flies under the radar.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it doesn't have nearly the same like crazed fan base as something like Attack on Titan or like My Hero Academia.
My Hero.
Yeah.
Like Mob should be like it's of equal or greater quality to those super popular mega hit shows.
Yeah.
Like why hasn't it gotten its theater release? You know what I mean? Like all the other ones have.
Yeah, I can attest.
There should be a Mob Psycho movie in American theater.
Yeah.
I can attest as a weeb adjacent. Mob Psycho hasn't even gotten close to my non-weeb radar. I don't know why.
It's weird.
I've watched Tokyo Ghoul, One Piece, One Punch Man. I'm not in the space, and Mob Psycho is definitely not.
It's the dude who did One Punch Man.
Yeah,
it's like the same creator, and the character looks exactly the same, just with like.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I was like, every time I see this, it looks like Saitama. I don't know why. When it goes, the Suka.
Yeah. The reason for that is because the creator, he goes by, is really bad at drawing.
That's really
so when
funny.
he was doing his manga, like that's what his characters looked like, and then later someone redrew it all, to make it look like presentable, but like it's like an homage to like that original style of character that he would do. Is like that big kind of bald blank face.
But I love that because it goes super deep.
Yeah,
it's very
good.
SpongeBob, very super detailed, and then just
Yeah.
Yep. It's great.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Highlander says, didn't Mappa do season 3 of Mob? I don't think so. You might be thinking of something else. I could be wrong. I don't think they like changed animation houses.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I haven't actually got 3 yet.
Animates.
Oh, see, now
Mob
that would
Psycho.
make sense. Nick says China probably likes Avatar more because they don't realize that the plots are all lifted from other stuff. That's possible. It could
They
be.
don't got
original.
Pocahontas over there?
Why would they?
Oh, does Disney not release their movies in China?
I don't know what they release. That's a whole different.
No, what's
thing.
going on in
Yeah,
China? China seems great though.
Yeah, like so. Talk about a walled
Like,
garden.
I always knew there were alternate versions, like depending, what is it? A lot of films are localized, right? But
Sure.
China likes their localization extra spicy.
That's how they order their localization.
Yeah, extra
Yeah.
spicy, please.
But yeah. Does that wrap everything up for what we've been playing and watching?
Yeah, pretty much. I got a new gun in High on Life, voiced by JB Smooth. I'm excited about that.
JB Smooth has a nice voice.
He's got a great voice.
Well, he has a. I don't think he has a nice voice like how Frost has a nice voice.
He has like a very
He has a-
unique voice that I love.
Yes,
Yeah.
he has a very recognizable
Yeah.
voice, and he's very good at voice acting
Yeah.
whenever he's using it.
I was just thinking of that about Danny DeVito because my girlfriend watches Always Sunny to fall asleep, but he's just there. Oh, I love a roast. Come on, roast me. Hit me with both barrels in his Danny DeVito voice. I was like, who talks like this? Or he's just pulling out weed. He's like, I'm gonna go roast this bone. I was like, God, I love how this man talks.
Go roast this bone.
I'm gonna roast this bone. It's just like, okay, I need a whatever it is that he's come from. He's from Pennsylvania, is he? But he still
I don't
talks
know.
like way different than New England. Anyone in New England that I've ever heard.
Perfect.
It's crazy.
Perfect
Whoa.
creature.
Yeah, he probably is from. Not
Perfect
Jamaica. Yeah, I think he is
creature.
from Pennsylvania.
He's a perfect creature. The anti Baba Yaga.
Why?
All right.
What's happening right now? Oh my god.
All right, so that'll wrap things up for that aspect. We'll jump into our next topic, which is very Henry Cavill focused. So we got news that Henry Cavill will be in a Warhammer 40K series for Amazon, and that he's also executive producing, which means, unlike The Witcher, he'll have a lot more creative control over this nerd property, which seemed to be a lot of the reason he had a falling out in The Witcher and left that series. And a bunch of rumors have been coming out about him being like difficult to work with on that show because of that reason, like him having all these creative differences with the showrunners and whatnot. I don't think any of that has been verified, so please take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I
if you're
saw a lot
reading
of people sharing that around, and it was like,
What, that he's an asshole to work with?
yeah, there was like a random story told on a random podcast, and a bunch of people were sharing it around who were like journalism adjacent. And I'm like, this seems just like, I've never heard of this podcast. Like, what? Like,
Yeah, it's like,
it
where
could
did
be
this
true, but
information come
like, why are
from?
we all sharing this? Like, yeah,
Slow news week.
yeah.
So definitely take that with a grain of salt. Like, I mean, it may like I said, it may be true.
Sure,
Just
yeah.
don't wholeheartedly believe it and then go spam Henry Cavill with your hate. Like, don't do that. But this series, I don't know anything about Warhammer 40K. I've played as a couple of the regular Warhammer games and a couple of the Warhammer 40K games because there are a billion spin-offs of just things for this series. But I've never understood what it's about. I did steal the name of my Adventures Night character from Warhammer, though. Like, there's a god or a general called Sigmar,
Oh.
which I think is just very close in name to my handle Sigma. So I thought it would be funny to use that as a name.
I didn't know that.
But yeah, that's my only connection to Warhammer lore.
You love Warhammer.
So I mean, are any of you like into Warhammer? Like, do you know about this property and like what you can expect from a Henry Cavill led series based on it?
We played Dark Tide together. You love Warhammer.
Yeah, that was a Warhammer thing.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, what was the story in that? I have no idea.
I was.
I don't think
Shrek.
I've ever played a second of a Warhammer. I don't know anything about it. It seems like Gears of War, but angrier.
but angrier.
Possible.
Yeah,
right?
everyone
You
seems
think-
angry. Everyone
They
seems
are.
angry. There's like a lot of browns. Like when I think of Warhammer, I think of the color, like a brown color palette, which is what I also think of with Gears of War. Yeah, I don't like what's its thing. And is Warhammer 40K different than like?
Than regular Warhammer, yes. Like Warhammer
What?
is like
Oh my god.
is like fantasy, like medieval fantasy. Warhammer 40K is that same fantasy universe, but like futuristic.
Okay, so that's what I think of. That's the
And then
Gears
they
of
had
War feeling.
Yeah.
Vermintide, which
Yeah.
is all that, but rats.
And that's like spooky, right? Vermintide's like kind of spooky.
It's just,
Yeah, but I
it's
think
rodents.
that's regular Warhammer. That's not 40K
Oh, okay.
Warhammer,
So
right?
man,
I'm
all right.
lost.
Same,
Yeah, 'cause-
yeah.
like it's very confusing.
You're not gonna
But-
get much out of me as far as the lore is concerned. My only concern is Henry Cavill, very much outspoken in what he wants out of his scripts. He's very upset with the way they did Geralt, where they're like, oh, they've wrote him to this one dimension, just fuck, that's it. Whereas in the games, he's very talkative, and in the books, he muses a lot. He's got a lot more to say than they gave him to do, and that's probably what kind of upset him. And made him difficult to work with. Difficult to work with can just, mean you clash a lot with people, whether it be a good reason or not. That's just difficult to work with, is that you're always talking to me. So my only concern is he has no experience with being an executive producer, as far as I know. Right? It's one thing to be a nerd and know the stuff. It's another thing to adapt it to the medium, right? And I'm not saying that Geralt was the best thing he could have done for The Witcher, but I don't know if he's got the chops for this. He'll at least have some feedback of like, well, I'm a nerd. I'm a big fan of this kind of stuff. I know what I want to see. That's what I'm expecting.
Yeah, and he's like very outspoken, been a huge fan. Like he has streams and stuff where he paints miniatures. So like clearly this is something he gives a shit about. I'm always sort of reticent when they announce a project like this with no director, writer, showrunner, or anything, and are just like, this person who's passionate about it is going to carry it across the finish line, because sometimes it works, like Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool, and sometimes we get Black Adam. Like so it's not 100%. Like The Rock clearly loves Black Adam for some reason. I don't understand why, but clearly it was something he's been passionate about for a long time.
I think it's honestly just, I don't know if The Rock actually cares about Black Adam, or he cared about getting a superhero tied to his persona.
Yeah.
That was
And
ultimately
Black
like
Adam-
a god, pretty much like a Superman caliber.
Yeah, it was like someone probably pitched him Black Adam. He was like, "Oh, that's good. That'll work for me." And it was like, "I need to make this happen because they're not letting it happen." Like Henry Cavill, I feel like has had a very odd career because like he's kind of beloved in terms of like being like a big Hollywood actor, and it's largely because he was a bad Superman.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, like Henry Cavill Superman movies are terrible, but people love Henry Cavill as Superman. Like they wanted better for him, and so I think this is kind of like this puppy dog sentiment where it's like, can't we just do right by Henry Cavill? Like, you guys have fucked him up, like fucked him over, or whatever. And The Witcher was probably the closest to that until it's all of a sudden like, oh, he's leaving. Oh, but he's leaving for Superman. So they'll finally get the thing we want, but now he's not even doing that anymore. So I don't know. Henry Cavill is a very rich, very handsome movie star. So like, I don't think he's like out in the world struggling. But his public persona kind of has that baggage of him not being able to get his chance. So I just find it very interesting because so somebody's like, someone's seizing on that and was like, oh well, let's attach him to something he wants to do and it'll be big because his fan base will flock to it.
Yeah, I read. So obviously, when we found out he wasn't going to be Superman by like James Gunn, who's now, running the DC cinematic universe over at Warner Brothers.
That was weird.
Tweeted out like, yeah, I had a meeting with him. We're not going forward with that. We're rebooting Superman. I'm writing a script for it. And I saw one of the replies being like, he left The Witcher for this, and now you're leaving him unemployed in this current climate of like unemployment. And I'm like, first off, we need to pump the brakes there. Like, this dude, filthy rich. Also, he'll be fine. Like
he'll be
he'll make
fine.
Alona Holmes 3 and Alona. I don't know.
Alone at home. I was like, are you saying Home Alone, Marty? Are you stroking her about
Alona in the Dark Holmes.
Alone Holmes 5?
He'll be fine. He's had a weird career because if you remove the DC stuff, he hasn't been in that much that I've
He
enjoyed.
showed up in like a Mission Impossible.
A Mission Impossible, which he was really good in, and he had famously
the
charges his
He
fists.
famously punched the air.
Yeah, and grew a mustache during in that punch.
He did, didn't he?
He's also in Man from U.N.C.L.E., which was really good, but sadly he was paired up with a known cannibal, Armie Hammer. So that's a rough beat. And he was in that movie Immortals. Did you guys ever see Immortals?
I
So
did. That's what
I
I
ever saw him in.
the
That was
first
old.
thing
That was a God of War movie.
It really was. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
it was.
What? I've never heard of it.
You've
This
not
came out
played Immortals?
No.
in like 2010 or 11, directed by Tarzan Singh, who is this guy who directs like one movie every decade, and he visually just fucking knocks it out of the park. Like he did The Cell
stunning.
with Jennifer Lopez, The Fall with Lee Pace, and then this was his movie of the 2010s called The Immortals, and it was pretty much about like Theseus. I think
Isn't he Perseus?
Theseus,
Theseus?
Perseus. One of the
Theseus is
Euses.
the boat. Jesus.
Theseus is
Jesus.
he plays a boat.
Yeah, I think Perseus is the hero.
I think this and
No,
Tutors.
Theseus is a man.
Yeah, he was. Theseus isn't just a boat.
Yeah. This is
It's not the
I named my boat
Mary from One Piece. But yeah, I think Immortals and Tutors are kind of what put him into the
Oh, yeah, he
this
was in
guy's
Tutors,
very
yeah.
British and very hot, and
Yeah.
they do that. But he's always been hot British man.
Very British, very hot. Love it.
Yeah.
That was the
Love to
big.
hear.
Honestly, those are the big two.
Like,
Apparently, according to this, well, first off, big news. He did play Theseus, according to Wikipedia, and he's starring in the
Okay.
Highlander reboot.
There was a Highlander reboot?
Apparently, he's gonna. Well, it says TBA, so there's
Oh, okay.
there's a
It
good
hasn't
chance
happened
it's
yet.
not real.
mm,
I hope he cuts people's heads off. That'd be cool. And he's gonna star apparently in the new Matthew Vaughn movie. So there you go.
I think he's too
yeah, I
big to
saw
wear a
that.
trench coat.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
What is he too big to?
To wear a trench coat. As a Highlander, you need a trench coat.
I mean, they could just make a larger trench coat.
Oh yeah, who was that? Frank Lambert? I can't remember.
No, Christopher Lambert.
Christopher Lambert. Right. That
Is it
was
Frank-
so weird.
who's Frank
He-
Lambert?
He's a Swedish man playing a Scottish man, and Sean Connery Scottish playing a Spaniard. And he goes, "What is haggis?"
Highlander's great. Frank Lambert was apparently a football player for Purdue in the 90s.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure that's what you're thinking of.
Yeah, that's what you're thinking of.
That's
clearly.
exactly what you're thinking of. It is interesting that, well, obviously Warhammer is first a tabletop game, right? Like that's
Yes.
what it
Yeah,
started
I
as,
think
and
so, yeah.
then now is like a shit ton of video games, and it's now getting a movie. It's just interesting that it feels like every week we get another video game adaptation announcement. You know, we got Death Stranding, we got the Amazon going ahead with the God of War series. We're getting more and
Fallout
more
series.
trailers of The Last of Us coming out in a few weeks. Screeners already out for it, which is a pretty good sign that they send screeners out a month in advance of the show premiering. So
Oh wait, it's odd that God of War is the show or the movie. They're going straight for Norse, aren't they? They're not doing the Roman stuff. That's what the announcement was.
Oh, they said that?
Yeah, they're starting in 2018, not the older ones. And I figured, yeah, why not?
that
It is
makes
cheaper to do it in the
sense,
forest.
then you can flashback to the
Yeah, I
to the
suppose.
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, the 2018 one is the more. That one is the more cinematic.
Yeah,
story.
yeah, yeah.
Like I like the original game story, but those were better video games.
Yeah,
So
agreed.
like to try to mine story from
Yeah.
that would probably be a tougher.
and
ask.
you can just like the core tension between him and his son.
Mm.
You just imagine that being like, oh yeah, I can see this
Yeah.
being like the beating heart of the show, as opposed to I'm covered in my family's ash and now I'm gonna kill the gods and sleep with a bunch of women in hot tubs
And you
Do you
must.
think
while
the
Jesse
next-
gets us demonetized.
It's gonna be like Bandersnatch. It's a quick time event.
There you go.
Do you think that the next Horizon Zero Dawn game will have Aloy travel around with a small boy?
We like,
Because I feel like
guys, we gotta get in order to win game of the year. We gotta give her a small boy.
like that seems like you just have tough adult small child travel with them.
Although
That seems to be.
Although, if you
Sony's
played the
bag.
opening of the first Horizon, they are terrible at modeling small children. Young Aloy
Yo,
looks
those kids
so weird.
look weird. Those kids look mad weird.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I'm curious how this is gonna turn out, if this is ever even gonna be a thing. Because
Who would
for
play
all these things that
Kratos?
get announced,
Jesus.
there's a million that never come out, like the BioShock movie, which is now a BioShock Netflix series, and I know there's a bunch of Ubisoft things that's some phase in development. At one point, they said there was gonna be like a I think The Division with Tom Hardy, and I'm like, is this still coming out?
Whoa.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Whoa.
Yeah, a bunch of, and they announced like
Still a thing.
they just recently said all the Assassin's Creed stuff. I think during the
Oh, right,
anniversary
yes.
thing
Yeah,
last
during
year.
their-
So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm curious. I'm wondering. I think it seems like almost the honeymoon period with superhero adaptations is kind of waning, and not like superhero movies aren't going anywhere, obviously, and
Mhm.
Secret
They're gonna
Wars
keep
and
trying,
shit
for
are
sure.
going to be the biggest things. But yeah, but it seems like I don't know. It seems like people are almost like realizing, like, oh, this is like a new well we can draw water from that hasn't been completely drained yet, and people aren't sick of it. And we'll see how many of these adaptations we can get off the ground. Like, oh, these games make
It-
hundreds of millions of dollars.
And it's like the whole industry has seized on gaming as the next big movie adaptation thing, but Netflix exclusively seemingly has seized on anime.
Yeah, they just
Like,
announced.
let's make all the anime adaptations.
Yeah,
we
they
can.
just announced My Hero
Oh, yeah.
Academia, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
it's probably cheaper in the long run.
I mean,
to adapt anime versus
live action anime.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, probably get the licenses. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I
It's
think.
not cheaper if you fucking cancel everything after a season.
Mate,
Like, you put in all the work, and then you're like, well, we're not doing more Cowboy Bebop, but stay tuned for One Piece.
I love this new environment of shows and movies where they're making the consumers fault. You didn't love this enough, so I'm just gonna go out back and shoot.
We're
it.
taking
Fine, it's
Westworld
fine.
away from you. You can't
Yeah.
watch Westworld anywhere now.
Yeah. So I'm gonna watch Cowboy Bebop like sometime later on because right now my backlog's too much. It's like, yeah, fine, I just kill it. It's all right. It's okay.
That was your fault. You were there day one, so you killed it.
Just Netflix is just there with a handout and some pre-stretched rope. Like, are
Yeah.
you gonna watch it or not?
King Dad, interestingly enough, in the chat said, "Don't forget that Warcraft started as a Warhammer game, but couldn't negotiate the license." Is that true?
Hmm.
I'm going to assume King Dad isn't lying.
Sounds
Yeah,
about
I'm
right.
assuming there are people in the world who do know about Warhammer, just not us.
Yeah,
Hopefully, Henry
bad.
Cavill's one of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if he paints a miniature, you gotta have some.
That's
investment,
that's
right?
all I know about it. I don't know if it's a game, a book, a movie, whatever. I just know they paint
It's all those
miniatures.
things. That's
It's all those
like it
things.
started as a board game, but it's literally all of those things you mentioned. Like there's so much lore, and like it just runs in the background of all of nerd culture. I feel like, and there are people who are really into it, and there are people who just haven't breached that wall.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe this would be the thing that puts it in the forefront, because like
Yeah.
a bunch of folks didn't care about The Witcher, but then the Netflix show got really, really big. A lot of folks watched it not knowing what The Witcher was, either the game or the books or whatever.
That'd be me.
But like it's a fantasy thing. We like that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe this will work.
Warhammer is to tabletop what like Neverwinter is to MMOs. There's one dude who knows way too much about it in every group that they work with, and they are like
Yeah.
the Sherpa.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nick TOG says, I used to be a commission painter for Warhammer. People brought me their armies, and I paint them up for them. Damn. The whole side industry based on Warhammer.
You should go. You should become email Henry Cavill and apply to become his
Yeah, paint
his Amazon
paint
shows
his soldiers
He paints his own.
armor.
paint them like his French girls.
They like
That's
your
Titanic
Warhammer
as well, I think.
figurines.
Yeah.
But okay. Anything else on this subject before we move on to our next and final?
High hopes. I was with Marty though. They're still looking for a writer, director, all that. It sounds like a very excited man just going, all I need is a captain and a boat, and we can go off on an adventure. Just sitting at the dock
I
right
think,
now.
yes, those are two very important things for nautical
Yeah,
adventures.
yeah, they are. Just what we need is a captain and a boat, and we can get through it. He's got the heart. He's got the passion. I don't know where his career is going to go. As I said, he's just very good at playing tall British white man. Very good at that.
Yeah.
Very handsome.
True. Undeniably handsome, some would say. So with that, we're going to move on to our final topic. So this situation kind of crept up out of nowhere. Like I'm not entirely sure why the U.S. Senate has decided to kind of jump into this now. Like I'm not sure what the catalyst is, but essentially, let me real quick just oh crap, what happened to my link? Oh, there it goes. Senator Maggie Hassan from New Hampshire has essentially sent a letter to Steam and Gabe Newell, which kind of brings to the forefront the fact that there are kind of Nazi sympathetic or extremist communities that exist on the Steam platform. That she did like a cursory search, and like you can just see a list of like content groups, users with offensive name handles and stuff that are kind of just openly hanging out like in the Steam ecosystem. And she basically challenges him to say like, hey, why is this the case, and what are you doing to curb this sort of thing? In addition to that, I believe they're trying to look into whether any of that stuff that exists in that ecosystem has offline parallels. Like if people are maybe communicating, meeting, grouping up in these gaming spaces, and then taking that sort of hate out into the real world and like committing acts of terror, etc. Personally, I want to say the initial reaction to this sort of thing is like, why would you come at a video game company when like there are like actual just extremist groups that just meet and collaborate like out in the open on like just regular social media and whatnot. But in thinking about it a little bit more, it's like, well, no, this is actually a thing that exists. Like it's a thing that just lives in the background in a lot of gaming spaces. Like any competitive online game you can think of will immediately, like, you'll know that it has a reputation for having a toxic community. So when you really put that together, like if all of these games have toxic communities and all of these are games, you kind of get the idea that at the core of games in general, there's a toxic community that's going out and playing these games. So like, yeah, when they can congregate in a place like Steam, or several other senators apparently have sent letters to other publishers like Microsoft, Sony, Ubisoft,
Not Nintendo.
Activision
Nintendo
Blizzard.
don't allow any Nazis on their platform because their internet is not stable enough to
You cannot plan the Fourth Reich here.
unstable connection.
But yeah, so it's for some reason, this sort of thing has gotten the attention of the U.S. Senate, and they're now sending out letters and looking for answers and questioning like what can be done to curb this sort of thing. Like, of course, this definitely needs to happen in other places as well, but that doesn't mean it doesn't also need to happen in games. Is my thought at this point. But my question is like, is this a thing that the U.S. government can help resolve, and is it as bad as they say it is? Like, I'm kind of leaning to the side that maybe perhaps it is, but I'm curious what you guys think, like in hearing this sort of thing.
There's a little something afoot with Senator Hassan. She's very pragmatic, and it's difficult to get her intentions. Like, she will vote 100% with whatever Biden has to say, but she doesn't go as far as you'd expect. So, like, medical marijuana, sure. Recreational, hell no. Minimum wage, no. Don't want it raised, that kind of stuff. So her views are, like, progressive, but I guess in the American sense, not so much in the world platform. This could be an attempt. I'm not saying that there's any underlying reasoning, but just this could be a bit of an angle to start looking into not free speech. Oh, they're coming for your free speech, but starting to do a little bit more of what is internationally regarded as moderation on hate speech, which is very difficult in America because of the, you can't, my amendments are sip. There's probably something to do with a very concerned constituent asking her to push this through, but they would have to reformulate a lot of things to actually define like what is this and whose responsibility is it, right? Is it Valve? Is it the separate games that are there? Specifically in that article, she was talking about the forums, just like the Steam forums weren't really moderating much of anything. And a domestic issue that could go international as far as like, is it a real tangible concern? I think so, and not because, video games make for violent people. It's just video games don't do a good job of getting rid of undesirables. If you're at a bar, if you're wherever, and somebody just like, let's all eat shit tonight, you could say nothing, you could say fuck off, and that's that. Your inaction has weight in the real world. Inaction online has no weight. So they're just trying to have some kind of action.
Yeah, my first thought when you sent the story over, because I didn't read it beforehand, like as in I didn't read it until you put it on the run a show, was like, hey, you know what else has pocket extremist groups? Literally Congress.
I was thinking that
Your
too.
coworkers who helped orchestrate and fuel fire to a coup attempt almost 2 years ago. And so, like that thing, I was just like, what the fuck are we doing here? That being said, I do agree. If you can find these things, if these things are like being given the oxygen on a platform like Steam, I think the onus is on Steam to fucking squash them. Like, if you are housing a platform that is supposed to build communities, and these awful toxic communities are using that platform to find each other and to grow, then like you are part of the problem if you're not doing anything about it. Like Discord is seeing the same thing. I remember even after they said some of the January 6th things like were being organized on Discord, and we even had like I had to ban a guy from our Escapist Discord just like 2 days ago because started like it was very clear he went on this crazy Gamergate rant out of nowhere and was tagging a couple people on the channel, and everyone was like, "What? Where did this come from? And why are you tagging me?" Then I looked at the post history, and it was like super gross. Like you could clearly see he's trying to like push the line as far as he could. And so it's one of those things. Like if that's our, if our Discord server is our like we are sort of putting our name behind it, then like we need to make sure that kind of shit doesn't happen there. And I understand Steam by magnitudes is larger than that, and it's kind of impossible probably to nip everything in the bud. But if she was able to find these by like fucking searching, then yeah, the onus is on Steam to do something better at that.
Yeah, like United States government, they are hilariously bad at technology. So if she can show you an example of the things she's talking about in her letter, like it's probably a lot worse than what she's actually able to get her hands on.
Yeah,
the coup was planned in a Roblox review.
Yeah, and I don't know if like percentage wise, if in gaming spaces are more prevalent to have these sort of things happen than like sports forums or anything like that, or like movie discussions, because you see like that sort of culture war thing happens in in every corner. But I mean, we even saw like when the last time we did the Jackbox stream, we were like, we'll see how far we can take this public, and it was the first game, and we were like, well, we can't take this public.
Like I'm like we have a great community. They'll be respectful. I'm like, hey guys, don't go over that line. And immediately
time to going over the line was like 15.
Immediately,
really is just a race to Godwin's law.
Race to the bottom. Yeah. And so yeah, like I don't know if I don't play a lot of Call of Duty. Like, she play Call of Duty. Like, are the sort of the themes of like Call of Duty lobbies. Like, I remember there's always like the goofs about like I was raised in the Call of Duty lobbies. I have thick skin. Like, is it still like are those games like toxic as shit?
Let me tell you something. I am actually upset that the games are not as toxic as they used to be. That was my fun.
That's a differing opinion I need.
I would go.
What the hell?
Let me tell you some things on why. Okay, racism bad. Yes. Do I also, to me as a person, basically have accepted that it's not going anywhere unless literally everyone changes, and I doubt that will ever happen. So I've also accepted that. But that's neither here nor there. What's here is that when I get on Call of Duty and I get to be toxic to toxic people, which allows me to release the toxic within on bad people. Okay. Because I feel everyone has some toxic, you know what I'm saying? Everyone's a little bit of a bad person. Let's be honest. You're not a great, perfect person. There's something in there. Okay. Okay, and I get to let that out on bad people. So, for example, if someone's a neo-Nazi, I get to be a troll to a neo-Nazi, and I don't feel bad at the end of the day. In fact, I feel great. I feel empowered, okay? So now, one of the things with COD is that back in the day, you used to stay in the same lobby, right? Like, as one game ended, you get to the next game with the same people. So you couldn't just trash talk and then leave. They changed that to try to make it less toxic. I hate it. As soon as the game is over, you get like 10 seconds of after the game, and people will wait until the last second because they've mastered the timing. They've gotten sneaky. They've gotten smart. They'll wait until the timing right when the lobby disbands, you join a new lobby, and there'll be racial obscenity. And then I'm like, I didn't have time. I didn't get to respond to that.
That's
time
not
for
fair. Rebuttal.
I didn't get the rebuttal. I didn't get to make them feel stupid. And I don't even and I mean, I troll, legitimately troll. I don't try to debate. There's no debating ignorance. So I just troll. And I don't get to do that anymore. You know what I mean? It's less fun. But
I mean that is a perspective.
It
Right?
is,
Like
right?
I'm not gonna discount that as
That's an idea.
a thing that shouldn't happen, even though it probably
It
shouldn't.
shouldn't happen, but because there's nothing I can do to stop it from happening, I might as well enjoy it instead of letting them make me feel bad about it. You know what I mean?
But then wouldn't the idea, and I'm not saying that this is possible and a thing that's easily achievable, but wouldn't the ideal be for you not to have to do that, to have lobbies where you go in and, you know, people are respectful of your race, and like if there's trash talk, it's basically about your game and the game, and like it's not crossing those lines.
Those lines? Yes, that would definitely be preferred.
Like, because what you're getting at, like, just to clarify, I think just what you're getting at is a response to existing toxicity, not like you show up in the lobby like, all right, who wants it?
No, I don't start toxicity. I love responding to toxicity. But no, you're right. I definitely would prefer, not for me, but more so for like younger audiences mostly. Like I didn't like grow up having to deal with being called stuff from like real life people, not people on the internet. People on the internet says stuff all my life, but I don't care about them. It's not like I had to deal with that on a daily basis or anything, if I'm being fully honest, but it's obviously something I felt like undertones of growing up. But it's more for younger children who don't have, they shouldn't hear that, especially not before like a conversation that a parent has with their young child to explain how the world really is. But you find out just being online and you just get called insert racial obscenity here. You don't understand that people think that way. You don't understand what's happening. It's for young kids is the only reason why I really feel like 100% I wish this wasn't happening. Granted, it's a rated M game. They shouldn't be on it technically online. That's not me. That's not me.
True.
That's not me.
That's true. But I'm going to age myself a bit here.
Do it.
In the idea that to kids nowadays, a lot of their socialization does come from online. Like they don't spend as much time in group settings with real people. Like that's just the way the world has.
And like
worked.
the pandemic
pandemic accelerated that
exactly.
far. Yeah. So the way people act online has always been a little off from how they act in the real world. Like either you're putting on a persona or you're like Ash, you're like releasing some sort of tension in your real life by being some sort of like, I don't want to say monster, but
Nope, I'm a monster.
Lets the monster out. It's Dexter, dude.
It's like this sort of persona that exists online, and if that is the thing that exists and interacts with all the other people who are also doing that of their own accord online, that has to have an effect, right? Like the internet is extreme because that's the only way you can get someone's attention. Attention spans are in the toilet. Like if you don't have the most extreme upsetting point of view on the internet forum, like no one's clicking on your thing, even because most people just want attention, honestly, and like whether it's good or bad doesn't matter. They just want that attention, that engagement. So like you become this character online. So like they're probably regular, well-adjusted, quote unquote people in real life who go online and just become something else. And it's because of that anonymity, because of, you know, their loneliness, blah, 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 like all these reasons there. That is a problem of the internet. I'm not sure what to be done about that, honestly. Like it's like a problem without a solution. And like, yes, definitely point out, hey, there's a group of people here who could be problematic, who are problematic. What are you doing to address that? The answer should be something. Like, even if you know in your heart they're just gonna find another way to pop back up, or like that shouldn't mean that you're now apathetic, I guess. And like that is kind of what Valve is being accused of here. Like they just have this stuff on their forums, they're not actually addressing it.
And Valve has the money and resources to at least make an effort to curb this.
Right.
I will say, I think stuff being in forums that like just text, they're easily able to use a bot that can find keywords, and then a human can then review it if they want it or whatever. But forums is easy, and I feel like for forums, you should do something. Now, like you said, no matter what, they're gonna make another account and they're still gonna hop on the game and play the games that are online, and you can chat with other people. But that's where if they did that much, I feel like that's understandable, and I agree with that. I don't think there's anything they can ultimately do at the end of the day for them actually playing the game. You can't stop them from buying the game. I mean, you can block their account, but they'll make a new one. They get on the game, you can report them, they'll get banned, they'll still make a new one. The easiest thing, though, for most of those games, you can turn chat off at least, or mute people that you don't want to hear. They do give you something to work with that. It does suck, but I feel like at least the forums, though, yeah, they should definitely do something for a blatant forum of this is what we're discussing, this is the topics at hand there. That should be taken care of.
I don't even know. I mean, obviously, yeah, I completely agree when it comes to forums. That's one thing. But like in-game chat is the onus on Activision for Call of Duty, is the onus on platform. Like if it's happening on Xbox, is the onus on Xbox. Well, I guess soon the onus is gonna be on Xbox regardless. But like, but you know what I mean? Like at what level does the buck stop at the publisher? Does the buck stop at the platform holder? Does the buck stop at the fucking ISP? Like where does you know, how do we figure that out? I do agree. Like in a perfect world, we could snap our finger and all these assholes would go away. But like Casey said, it's not a perfect world, and there is.
Well, I need at least 5 of them to be in my Call of Duty lobby. Can we need 5 of them? They can only play Call of Duty 24/7. For me, that's it.
I mean, Nick DOG says the buck stops at the parent. I mean, I'm talking about adults doing it. You could go into like the parent of like a 30-year-old.
Yeah, people assume that these characters with their dark passenger that comes out are children.
A lot of them are grown as adults.
A lot of I have and it's funny that you say the buck stops here. I do have a small tinfoil hat and tie theory that the reason they're not so hard on like toxic players is because they spend money.
Sure.
You know, there's someone there that's like, if we hypothetically ban all these people, how much are we losing? It's like,
how many of these are our whales? Yeah.
And they're gonna go to a game that allows them to say whatever they want, and that's why Roblox is still popping off. But no, I don't know if they actually.
Roblox is the last bastion of free speech.
Apparently.
Yeah, Roblox is Parler too.
Roblox and
Parler.
But yeah,
good thing it's not the most popular game with kids. Oh no.
There's definitely like game developer tools that can be used. I just don't know if they're being used properly enough. I know, like, you know, blocking, reporting. Sure, there's also gremlin lobbies where if you are reported enough, you're only matched with other people who are like,
oh my god,
that sounds like the dream for.
I wanted.
I don't get reported. That's the problem. I don't get reported.
How incredible would it be to do like an expose? Like I infiltrated a gremlin lobby. This is what I saw.
See, I want to do a deep dive for Cold Take for that, where it's like I got into these lobbies. No, but there are. It's let's go. It's Team Fortress 2. They have lobbies where it's just cheaters, like straight up hackers against each other.
And do they all know it?
Yeah, they know. They're very much aware of it. They like it. It's like they're playing a different game.
Incredible.
All right, but I mean, the regular game still deals with cheaters and hackers, right? Like they haven't solved that.
I couldn't tell you because I don't play TF2 that much anymore. But I would imagine if you're putting all the hackers in their own hacked lobbies, like nobody else would know they exist. So theoretically, they should be fine.
But that's if
they're not going to get all of them. But
but it's a lot.
As soon as you get one, a new one comes up.
And the ones who don't want to be in there are gonna hack their way back into the main one.
That'd be really funny if at a certain point, and when people are like, "Man, this game is really toxic," everyone else knows it's like, "Oh, that's because you got put in the gremlin zone. You were the toxic one." It's like when someone's like, "I keep getting served ad for boner pills. I don't know why." And it's like, "Dog, because you need boner pills."
You say that, but Hi-Rez did a mass ban, a huge ban. It was a retroactive sweep of everybody's chat logs, and you'd get banned for very specific slurs during the BLM stuff. And then there were a lot of people on Twitter and in the Reddit just like, I came back to this game and I got banned for no reason. What happened? And we're like, oh, I don't know. there's still stuff online where it's just like, how's the game now? It's like, I don't know. I got banned like a year ago for no reason whatsoever. It's like,
I will say, like you said, for getting hackers and stuff too, because even because COD has their Ricochet hack or whatever. And I'll tell you, I was just on looking through YouTube shorts, and I saw someone literally doing a live YouTube short of them using wall hacks in Call of Duty. And part of it is that COD likes to advertise, our Ricochet hack cheat block is better than ever. They're not gonna. I'm like, don't tell them they can't break it, because that.
Yeah.
That's just gonna.
They're like,
incentivize.
Don't tell me I can't break it, and they'll break it in a day. Like even hackers that are like more legit and do like don't really care about the gaming scene. They'll break it just because you advertise that it can't be broken into. That's just what they do all day.
Yeah, It's not that what is it? It's not to say that these hackers aren't gamers. There's just some people that like messing around with code and stuff. And if you're inviting them, it's just a challenge of
Yeah,
like, come break
it's a
my game.
challenge.
But yeah, Titanfall 1's online scene died because of all the hacking. Titanfall 2 is when they put in the goblin lobbies, and it was a lot better for them. Apex is now suffering because there's just so many hackers because of Apex's challenge, essentially, where they're like, "No, we got you. No, we got you this time." But
Yeah,
they just
don't
keep
say
on
that.
breaking it. They just keep on taking the challenge.
Make a change.
Yeah,
Don't
and-
tell anyone you made a change. Wait until they figure it out.
Lampy in chat says it's not really a problem of the internet, Casey. It's a problem of human nature when provided anonymity. The same problem existing with anonymous groups before the internet. It's a problem on the internet, but not of the internet.
That's why I do what China does.
I think it makes the internet
is
makes it
true.
so much easier, though, right? It just
Yeah, like the root cause is humans, right? Because humans do all the bad things for sure. But yeah, the internet is a tool, and they use that tool to behave badly.
Yeah.
So like I guess that's where the companies have to try and fight it, is with that same tool. Like they use what they can to make it so that those problematic people have at least a harder time trying to be problematic in that space. But yeah, the root cause is definitely humans, and
I wish it
we're stuck with us.
What if we do a year?
I don't know.
What if we do 1 year and we say no more multiplayer games just for a year?
no.
Just see what's going on.
I
What?
mean, that's fine. I got
Just
a
see what happens
backlog.
at the end of that year. See how
Yeah, I'd
everyone
be
feels.
okay, but like what?
like that's the proposition to Congress. Like the entire gaming industry gets together. Like,
All right,
hey,
no
we're
more
doing an
multiplayer
experiment.
games.
We want you guys to watch. Let's see how many insurrections happen without multiplayer.
Oh.
And then come back and talk to us.
I thought this was going a different way. It's like 1 year where it's like the purge. You could do whatever you want in games.
But for
No, Jesus.
For a year, I was like, good God, Marty.
Yeah, what if we give 1 day? We're like, all right, you can do as many hacks as you want on hack day, but after hack day, you can't.
Would that wouldn't work?
No, it wouldn't.
Right? The Purge movies are about that not working, right?
Pretty
Like-
much, yeah.
They made too
Actually,
many.
the Purge,
They
the Purge
made
movies
too
are
many
about
Purge
taking
movies. I don't know.
advantage of poor people and
Yeah.
minorities. Technically, when you get deeper into the the films, which
It
Yeah,
ain't
but the Purge
technically,
movies are
that's what
also
happens in the
about
third
people not planning Purge Day correctly and being like, "Oh, I'm going to run some
Well, it's
errands
definitely
for
about not
Purge
planning
Day
that.
and running
I
low
was
on
so
gas.
stupid.
I hope I get
this
home
is a
in time."
holiday. Yo, you know this is a holiday, and you're
Did
just
you
like,
know that people
"No, watch my
actually
store."
leave? Like, if you walk, they're like, yeah, a bunch of people buy tickets to leave, and apparently, I guess they hike up prices, which also
Sure.
keeps more minorities in the country. You find that out
Yeah.
later too. I was like, oh wow, this movie
There's
is
the
deeper
one
than
movie
I
though where
thought, but
someone's
still.
like, "Oh no, sun's going down. I might not get back on Purge Day," and I'm like, "How are you so bad at planning?"
Pretty
Like,
Like, how
sure
did you
that
not
was-
just save up the whole year
Yeah.
just to get a ticket to leave the country and then just come back the next day? Like,
You got bills, man.
Look at my dude in the
fuck them
third.
bills.
Yeah, my dude in the third one was like, I gotta save my store because they're gonna break my windows. I was like, what? They're gonna kill you.
Yeah, this is Purge
Yeah.
Day. Like, you can't be caring about your store on Purge Day.
Right? Nah, if it was possible and wouldn't be abused, because it absolutely would. I don't even know if China does this now, but there was a system where essentially it's kind of like tied to your social, kind of. So like all your accounts, everything you do is like, if you're being a little gremlin online, well, that's gonna like lower your people score, I guess is what it
Oh
is.
yeah, it was like that Black Mirror episode of like the app where people rated each other or something.
Yeah,
And then, like,
yeah.
the people who had the most stars were like successful and popular, and
Yeah.
like they would get money from their get better jobs, etc.
Yeah, pretty
Like
much.
yeah, they implemented that exact sort of thing.
It doesn't work, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think that's what the Black Mirror
Yeah.
episode was about.
I do find that,
That shit don't work.
People, when given something to care about with their accounts, they're a lot less likely to misbehave. So if they do have to attach a phone number or something, you only get one chance to play. Or I got thousands of bucks that I spent on this, right? So I'm kind of okay with those kind of cosmetics, just like how much money do they have attached to it. But now I don't know if it's swaying developers to like, well, maybe they do rip a few hard R's, but they pay a lot for skins. It's like, excuse me.
See, I want to push back against that because for once I actually have some firsthand knowledge of that sort of process. And I can tell you right now, I have never once seen anything in the vein of, because XYZ spends a lot of money, we're going to be more lenient in terms of banning, like, especially since those systems are separate from each other. Like, I don't think you can, like, the people who look at the toxicity and then act on it, like, because there are some live people, a lot of it is automated.
Yeah.
But there are live people who will get a report and then act on it. That person doesn't also have access to you know, their spending history or their, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like they
yeah.
they look at
the best.
the transgression and then they act on the transgression
Yeah.
based on, you know, whatever rules they have.
Yeah, they should be separated, like, you know, like sales and editorial, and like you know, church and state divide. And if that's the case, that's great. Then that's.
Oh yeah,
That's
that is
good.
good.
I'm also still thinking about Purge. I think I'd go up in a hot air balloon for that day.
Stay up there all day. I'm with that.
Does that seem
Fuck
like
that,
crazy
I'm going
safe?
in the water.
But then
Pack a picnic?
what if they plan for that next year? Like, oh, that one dude was in that balloon all the whole time. Like, let's get bows and arrows.
You got a bunch of Purge balloons coming up. They're shooting us here. Fuck. Well, you gotta try something new every.
Yeah, every year you got to figure out a
Yeah.
new thing.
Take to the water.
Sounds like a
Take
hassle.
to
Take the water. Yeah, get
The
them
water.
go in the middle of the water. Yeah.
Cause wait, would the purge rules apply? Because that's an international thing then. Maritime.
But then no
laws.
rules apply, and then you're in the same, literally the same boat.
Wait, would you observe the purge in the water? I don't know. Regardless, it's a big ocean. It's hard
Yeah, I
to
don't,
find
is the Purge a global thing or is it a?
No,
Excellent.
it,
Is it
it
America
started in
only?
one city and then it spread out across the U.S.
Actually,
How
it's a
does
Purge
one
effort.
city get
U.S.
that
only.
legislation?
Well, if you want to talk about it, because I actually
I
really
don't.
no wait.
Honestly,
All right,
don't.
I won't talk about it, but just watch the movie called The First Purge, not the actual first
First
movie.
Purge,
Watch
okay.
The First Purge.
Oh, I
'cause
forgot
that
that
was
was a
actually
thing.
that one was actually fun. I actually thoroughly enjoyed that one. The rest of them I just was there for lore.
For that sweet Purge lore.
That's
Is
sweet.
is Purge technically a death game?
Yes,
Frost.
I've
Okay.
seen them. Yeah,
Yeah, because
they
it's
definitely count.
the rule is there are no rules. So
See, my
there are
Yeah,
opinion.
that's
rules.
not a game.
There are rules.
There are rules. Yeah, they break them in the third one.
there
but
are
there
rules.
are rules.
They do break.
But what you call it? I mostly death game is just to see like how people work under certain constraints. It's more of like a social thing. But yeah, it definitely falls into the. I've seen all of these for some reason or other.
No, I know. We were trying to think of something you haven't seen. You
yeah,
fucking
we were
crushed
trying
them
to
last
give
night.
you
Yeah.
new death games to watch for some.
Yeah.
For some
You hear a Squid
yeah,
Game?
we're,
You ever hear a
we're
Squid
also
Game?
part of the problem.
What?
You ever hear a Squid Game?
No, what's that?
Oh my god, it was
What?
well, it was really popular on Netflix.
Really?
They couldn't have
No,
been that
he
popular.
watched.
didn't they?
He knows
Frost.
Squid
It was
Game.
very popular.
He's the Squiddy. He's a big Squidman.
That's not.
Frost wrote it.
Yeah, it was.
After all
I
the
was.
other Death
I was
Game
actually in
things he
it
watched.
in the Squid Game. I was the
Oh,
old
man.
man.
You were the old. Oh, that's not
the
good.
whole time.
He was a baddie.
I mean,
Spoilers.
if anybody would
Frost was
have,
like, I need to make this real.
if anybody would have the incentive to be like, oh, I want to be in one of these death games, surely it would be the guy who watched too many of them when he was younger.
That's the Squid Game origin story.
Yeah, John Squid. That's it. Thank you, Nick. John Squid.
All right. Any lasting sentiment regarding this whole thing? And this is only the beginning of the story. We'll probably retouch on this. One, when these companies respond, and maybe when the other letters reach the other publishers, because it's not just Valve that's being asked to do something about these sorts of communities. Like, it's well known that this is across gaming, and the senators, a bunch of other senators have sent stuff out. Democratic senators, it seems like. Don't know why the Republicans don't seem to care about Nazis.
Oh, well, hold up.
sympathy
You say that
across the internet.
that's a bipartisan thing right now. They're trying to ban TikTok. Did you say that?
Oh yeah, they're trying to ban it
I'm in
from.
favor of this.
They're trying to ban it from government phones. That's the
Oh,
start,
I thought that
right?
was for all America.
I
Never
think.
mind.
I mean,
Oh.
I think that would eventually be the step, right?
I'd kind of be in favor of this.
I
Like,
love
TikTok.
TikTok.
Has
See,
damaged
I
my
love
mind.
it's a tool, and sometimes you become the tool for the tool, or the other way around.
Yeah.
I can open my phone right now, and it will not be anything that's not food. It's just food.
But I mean, you're an adult, with a fully developed brain. I
Kinda.
assume. And like the thing is, like, kids they get phones younger and younger every year because parents need a way to keep track of them, or they
Put a chip on
They
them.
just want to give them a screen to distract them and whatnot. And TikTok becomes a straight up drug.
To be fair, Casey. To be fair,
Mm-hmm.
I think TikTok has a minimum age of 13 to be
Yeah,
a user.
they say that, but like,
I mean,
yeah, my son is too young and he shouldn't be. using it,
You're also
but-
not allowed to be ugly on TikTok.
that's true.
I can get
That's
behind
actually a
that.
fact. That's a fact. They
This is
blow
one
up,
thing I do
more.
support.
If they see cracks in your walls, they will actually like lower you in the algorithm.
Oh,
Because they'll be
no.
like,
What
"Ooh,
about
poor."
broken? What about broken closet doors? Oh no!
Nope, they're going down. Stock
Tanks
goes
your
down.
TikTok.
Oh no! I'm financially ruined.
That's not a joke. They're like, poor. No, thank you. People don't want to see
Poor is
poor. I'm like, what? It's not even poor. It's just a broken. Okay. But no, I like TikTok.
But yeah, I'm anti TikTok.
Yeah, but
I said it.
as far as
I
the
think
legislation,
I think
work in
you
social
don't
media. I
use
don't give a shit.
TikTok properly. Okay.
I don't use it. I don't use it at all.
See, that's the
probably-
problem.
Doesn't
You
want-
don't see
his
the
kids
I
addicted
see
to
plus
other
TikTok, he
people
doesn't want
using
it.
it.
Yeah.
I see other people using it, and I see what it does to them.
because they're on the
I
wrong
see
TikTok.
the hold.
Let me tell you something, Casey.
What's the right TikTok?
What interests do
Puppies.
you have, Casey? Tell me some of your interests, not gaming related. Just think of just normal interests that represent who Casey is.
controllers.
I like martial arts. I like to see when people do like cool martial
I
arts.
You
bet
can
there's-
have
I
your
bet there's-
TikTok algorithm tailored to only martial arts stuff. Because that algorithm is quick. It's quick, Casey.
People punching boards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Yeah, but I don't want to be stuck watching that for hours when I should be doing something
Oh,
else.
now, Casey.
That's on you.
Is that TikTok
Is it
or
on
you? Is that TikTok
Because
or
you just asked me what my interest is. Like if I got to be doing something else, and then like a giant cake says "eat me" outside my window, I might get up and try to eat.
Sounds
that
like
cake.
you lack discipline and need to be in martial arts class yourself, Casey.
Wow.
You are not the Baba Yaga.
You are not.
You lack
But no, I
focus.
get it. It's very easy to get absorbed in TikTok. But that's again, is that the
Yeah,
tool
and
or is
even
that human
easier still
nature?
for young kids?
Is that the tool though? The tool's fault or human nature? Because I go to it for food and I get a lot of creative like food concepts to make off of TikTok, and they'll tell you ingredients, how to make it, because they're not all like the 7-second videos. Some creators have like 60 seconds up to like 5 minutes of a TikTok that you can make or whatever. So I get a lot of useful information off of them. It's the same as YouTube Shorts. I get some good info
Yeah,
/ entertainment.
Don't get news. It's a shot of dopamine, right? Looking at puppies, looking some more. I've seen some martial arts one or some good nostalgia bait where just like that one time that Goku did that one thing. It's like, oh yeah,
Yeah. It just depends on how you tailor
Tell me
your,
I can
your
get Goku
algorithm.
on my TikTok.
yeah, whatever you want.
I
Just
get a
don't.
lot of great artists on TikTok, like
yeah.
drawing.
Yeah, I'm
artists.
not saying there isn't good content there. I'm saying that the way it's presented is harmful to young minds. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's too easy to
Like
go
as an
wrong.
adult, go ahead, go nuts with TikTok. I'm gonna stay away from it. Like YouTube Shorts is literally the same thing.
It is.
I think Instagram has also instituted the same thing, except it sort of shows up while I'm doing other scrolling, as opposed to just being the only thing I'm scrolling through. So like that's my gripe with it as a platform that I would use. But like for kids, my son in particular, like when his mom got him that phone, the first thing he wanted to do was TikTok because he wanted to make videos, right? And I thought it was cute. Like he'd make like little fun videos, little transitions, like he's messing with video editing or whatever. But like when he's done with that, it's like he won't stop changing the TV channel because it's just a new thing every 30 seconds, every 30 seconds, every 30 seconds. It's impossible to get him to focus. And I know it's because of YouTube, of TikTok, of stuff like that.
Well, my kids are gonna
Just
be Amish.
just put it down. Like how is it I'm trying desperately to convince my son to just watch a cartoon. Like watch Pokemon, watch Naruto, like watch a cartoon. The same stuff my parents were saying, like, why are you watching? Read a book. I'm like, watch a cartoon, because he's not watching anything of substance. It's just noise.
Sounds like he tailored the algorithm to noise. I'm sorry. That sounds like your son's
Like,
fault,
it's
Casey.
harmful. It's harmful.
You say that, but I've actually had to I tried reading a book again, and my brain was just like making its own noise because it just wasn't there anymore. And so
Where's the
I
stimulus?
I just and it was a decent sized book. It's not like I was reading some kind of scholarly report or anything, but it's just my brain was not used to it, not transitioning and just moving on from there. So I've very
It's
slowly been reading like longer and longer things, trying to get my stamina back up. Like my attention span is shot. It's horrible.
That's true. Now, Casey, I'm okay with you being anti-TikTok, but I need you to co-sign another anti for me if you're going to be anti-TikTok. I need you specifically, out of all these programs, because this one's the worst, I need you to be anti-Coco Melon with me. If you're anti-Coco
No,
Melon,
I 100% agree.
because
Coco Melon.
that scene will
is
switch
poison.
every 3 seconds. That's bad.
What is it? I
TikTok
don't-
is
what
better
is-
than
what is
Coco
this?
Melon.
Coco Melon is this poorly CG animated series. I believe it started on YouTube, but now has like channels on everything.
Yeah, it's on like Netflix.
Where it's like kind of very young child focused entertainment. Like they'll sing like kind of nursery rhymes and like have bright colors.
it can be
and
very educational,
soft melodies. But
Coco Melon is
it's like scarily addicting. Like babies will be locked onto the screen for as long as you have the thing playing in front of them.
Yeah.
And then when the thing is gone, like they'll want it like their crack feet.
This ain't
So,
entertainment.
what
This is
hap-
hypnosis.
So what happens is, and I watched someone go over it on YouTube, they're like, I'm going to time how quickly these scenes transition from one thing to the next. Like not staying on the same focus, but literally change scenes. And they're like 1, 2, 3, it's swap. 1, 2, 3. It's swap. Every 3 seconds, there's a new visual stimulant for a baby to look at. And it's flooding their brain with dopamine and stimulation. So that's why they get legitimately addicted.
Really bad. It's really
At least
bad.
other ones, like you'll stay focused for a solid like 15 seconds, 20 seconds, you know what I'm saying, and have a stretch. But no, Cocomelon is like 3. You can watch an episode right now. Every 3 to 6 seconds, it will change.
I see.
It's scary.
Like, my kids are gonna watch Teletubbies, that nice one shot.
Yes.
all the way through.
Get the baby son on the screen for a solid 10 seconds, just giggling that.
Yeah,
shit.
Cocomelon just sounds like WarioWare, and that sounds great.
It
Love
is
WarioWare.
This is really for
Is
adults.
WarioWare for babies? Yeah, like
Babies love WarioWare.
Like-
He's like WarioWare.
the spikier the mustache, the better. Babies love it.
But
Spiky.
that's as far as that's
Oh
going
my
to go
God.
for, like, bipartisan moderation, which has a very more extrinsic
Like,
issue.
I want to get to Lampy's message in the chat before we wrap things up soon. It says, at what point is it the parent's responsibility to control what the child accesses, though? You can control what is on their phone and when it can be used. Protecting kids shouldn't ruin things for informed adults. I don't see how... Yeah, like, I don't see... Like, you're right. Like, those sorts of things definitely should involve attentive parents monitoring how their kids take in that sort of thing. But I don't see how looking at that somehow makes it so that adults can't do what they want to do.
See, personally, I think that kind of, let's say that there's child friendly and then there's child harmful stuff. The child harmful stuff is the stuff that the parents would want to use, as you say. These are the informed adults that want to do these adult things. I just think it should be something you opt into rather than have the attention and focus to opt your child out of it. That's the only way I see it. So like in Mexico, all the food has like these labels on, little black hexagons on them that just say like excess calories, high sodium, blah blah. Like it's there, it's still there. You can still buy it, you can go about it. But now like there's no fun. There's no Tony the Tiger. There's no color. There's nothing. These are very bland boxes that the kids are not likely to actually go for. Adults can still opt in through that being informed, but it's less likely for a child to like just gravitate towards it. So informed choices are very important, but you'd be surprised how much subliminal psychological stuff is being used to, now I'm getting weird with it, but how much stuff is influencing your choices. There's informed choices, there's influenced choices, and a lot of stuff is just, they're very heavily influenced choices.
Yeah, I don't want to be alarmist or anything. Like I don't think it's some big conspiracy that China has to weaken Americans and strengthen their own culture, even though there have been reports that Chinese kids get a different version of TikTok than the rest of the world does. But that sort of thing, I think we should pay more attention to it. Because like if you just freely give it to a society, a lot of parents just won't know that there's something wrong that they have to do something about. You know what I mean? Like not everyone is reading all the tech news. Not everyone is as savvy to, like, even if they have heard about it, their go-to might just be to ban it because they don't know how to make it safe for their kid. And my son in particular is very tech savvy. That's probably my fault as well. So like if I do some limiting or give him some rules of structure, like he's clever enough to get around it. Like he'll figure out how to get the thing he wants to do and hide it from me because I'm limiting it. So my goal is to be like, all right, none of it. Like it's blocked on the phone, and if I catch you using it, you're in trouble. Like that's the path I have to go to because I know how my son is. Like I know the kid.
Nobody's.
So like, it's not a one size fits all thing. Like I'm not saying that they should ban it nationwide, but they should definitely be looking at it. There should definitely be certain restrictions on it because I personally have seen it be harmful to young kids. So I'm sure it's happening elsewhere to other kids as well.
Yeah, I get anxiety whenever my younger siblings talk about content creation and all that. I was like, oh man, I'm just thinking of everything that I've experienced and all that. Even though I'm fine with it, it's not something that I would want any of them going through. It also just comes down to nuance, like personal responsibility versus greater good. New Zealand's just, they're banning all cigarettes by 20 whatever. Like that's it, they're done with them completely. And I was like,
yeah, and that's just a net positive. Like you can make the argument that like, oh, I should be free to kill myself with nicotine, and like maybe, but also why? Like at some point, like can't you just be like, that's dumb, don't do that?
Yeah, like cigarettes, gun bans. Like, there's just some things where it's like, yeah, freedom of choice. I get it, but is all your freedom gone now just because
Yeah,
you
like
can't
what?
have
Like
a
why are all
cigarette
your
and a
choices
gun
bad?
and light
Like
the cigarette with the gun? Like,
I don't have a gun. What am I supposed to do?
what do I do with breakfast? What am I supposed to
Everything's
eat?
scary. How do I eat breakfast? How do I go to the diner
I
without
don't
my
know.
gun?
Like I hear the argument in the chat, like Lampy talking about like heavy-handed, government intervention and stuff can be bad, and a lot of that is because the government doesn't have the people's best interest at heart, which sucks. But like if they accidentally get it right, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Like if they have a different agenda for why they're gonna look at this, but it is actually harmful in a way, and that solves that problem, I'll take it because like it's so rare that they get something.
Lampy
proper.
says they're not technically banning cigarettes for us. They're increasing the age you can buy them at by 1 year every year.
Yeah,
Does that mean in like 70 years we're gonna get like, I finally turned 80?
No,
Let me light up this heater.
Let me roast this bone.
I mean, if you ask me, honestly, I don't think people should be drinking or smoking until age 25, since that's when apparently the brain is finally done developing. So I feel like you shouldn't take anything that can halt or hurt that. But I don't know. That's me.
But yeah,
I mean, I don't drink, so I'm biased.
as Lampy
I don't
said,
drink either. But
Counterpoint. I think it's great.
I used to. Yeah, see, I used to, but then I just kind of. It's not that I'm against the alcohol or anything. I just don't drink now for some reason. It just happened out of nowhere.
I'm not against it, but I figured why have that? Why should you be able to do that before your brain is done developing?
Yeah.
Because for people who do too much, it's gonna mess up early and halt stuff. You know what I mean?
So why are you allowed to sign up for the military at that point?
That's my biggest gripe. If you want to ask me that, you should not be able to do that either. Especially because you go to the military before you can even drink. Heck no. If you can go to the military, you should be allowed to drink first. That should be an exception to that rule.
Black tar cocaine.
Like, get on that battlefield, you drunk bastard.
Here's a beer. I'm just saying, because like I remember a comedian told a joke. He's like, "What if you get your leg blown off or way early on? You come back and you're 20 years old, missing a leg from having served, and you can't even get a drink at a bar." I'm like, "That's pretty screwed. I'm not gonna hold you."
Hold on, but like, why should the goal after you come back?
That's not the goal, Casey. But I'm saying if he wanted a drink, he should be able to legally have a drink.
But why would you want to drink? I feel like
he
that's
lost a leg. He wants to numb the pain.
And that's bad. That's the point I'm getting at.
Why doesn't he just go into some COD lobbies then?
He should go to a COD lobby.
Like this societal idea that drinking alcohol is a coping mechanism is bad.
It is bad.
Like I feel like that's just the wrong track from the very beginning.
Right.
So like that argument is like mad flawed.
Yeah, but people do that.
Like you shouldn't be medicating the fact that you had a terrible time at war and are now missing a leg with alcohol.
People use video games for the same. They say like, oh, I need
but video games don't have a physical effect on.
They're not. Video game addiction doesn't. You don't think?
Well, anyone can be addicted to anything.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, but like, I'm talking about like an actual chemical reaction in like the body. Like alcohol will kill you should you drink enough of it.
I might be a little more dopamine dependent because my video games might be a little more dopamine dependent. Me personally.
I mean, I'm not gonna entertain the idea that video games are an equal level of harm to the human.
Oh no, don't worry.
As alcohol,
I just
vehemently disagree with that notion.
Yeah, start slow. It comes down to nuance and execution. Like Lampy said, they're not just banning it outright; they're just weaning off society. Eventually, there'll be people who will say, "Back in my day, we could smoke these cigarettes. What were they? Oh, like this horrible thing that would cause cancer and like get lung in your tar."
Why would you do that? Lung in your tar.
Get your lung out of my tar.
Get your lung out of my tar. And just a little more nuance, I think, and execution is what's necessary right now. I don't know if we're jumping on the everybody. We need to censor everything. No one talk. The purge is going to be everyone. No talking for a day.
I'll be in my hot air balloon with my 6-pack, and I'll be fine.
Yelling.
Okay, see, that's all I was like. I agree. It shouldn't be a coping thing. But like, if you can serve at 18, if you're able to go lawfully commit murder at the age of 18, potentially, because you might not be deployed, but you can. If they deploy you, you will be doing that, lawfully committing murder at 18. At that point, you should be have all the rights of whatever age restrictions a legal adult can have. I feel like to legally
No, that's
commit
fair.
murder, you should be able to do everything else at that age too. Which is why I think it should be bumped up to 25.
Age limits are
I mean, if you made the exception that if you're a military veteran, then you can just drink. Like you get access to all the, like you can rent a car without having to pay the extra money or whatever.
I mean,
because you served in the military, like I think that's fine.
I think,
because,
yeah,
like,
at
you're
least
basically
minimum
taking
do
on
that.
a huge risk for the sake of your country. So like, yeah,
there are some states that do respect a military license, where if you're not 21, you can still drink.
Okay.
yeah,
Some
so yeah,
states.
like a provision like that, I think
It should be
does make
all.
sense.
I
But,
still
yeah.
think 18 is whack. Like you could ruin your life and get a 60.
Even Honey Money said voting at 18 is pretty crazy, which I kind of also.
Yeah, Honey Money just said that.
Fuck
That's
them
not
kids.
crazy. I mean, that's the reason the Democrats win is because we have voting at 18. So I don't want to rock that boat.
Yeah, let's leave it for now. Lower it.
Yeah, let's lower it.
I just think
I
there should
mean-
be a baseline number for all of this stuff because a lot of it is like
Well,
very.
you do take civics classes, etc. Like before that, like you learn that in like middle school and high school.
Not
So, like-
not where I grew up.
No,
Nope. Oh, it's very.
they just didn't.
It's
They
Also-
didn't tell you how government worked.
Also, if these these politicians are making decisions that impact your life, at the age of
Yeah,
18, shouldn't I
yeah.
be able to have a say in that?
I mean, it impacts people under 18 too, right? Technically.
Let babies vote.
let the babies vote.
Let
the
the
babies
babies vote.
What is
Let
it?
the babies vote.
Vox Populi, Vox de jour.
Vox baby.
Vox Populi, Vox
At
Baby.
that point, they'll just give everybody with children. They'll just be like, "Okay, how many kids do you have? 8. Okay, you get your vote counts for 9 votes." That's what they'll do.
Oh no! Oh no! This is a slippery slope.
that is a bad road. I
This
think.
is a slippery
That's what
slope.
they'll do.
I don't know about all
That's
that.
how the babies vote.
And we've gone back to the Civil War.
I like the third topic. That spur the moment third topic.
Henry
that started
Cavill.
Casey.
Yeah. All right. So if there's nothing left on this, I think we'll wrap things up. Thanks so much to my guests. Thanks, chat. Ash, where can folks find you?
Well, since
on the
I'm
internet?
streaming again, woo, consistency one time. They can find me at Ash Redux on all platforms that I am on, which are Twitch, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter that I don't use, whatever. Just I'm streaming tonight. I'm sure I will. Yes, I will do that.
You don't sound so sure.
I am not, but look out for that.
Everyone, cancel all of your Sunday night plans. Ash
Do
is
it
on
right
stream.
now.
Yeah,
You got a hot date with your wife and it's been months. Cancel it.
cancel
You're
it.
here.
Ash is definitely, maybe, possibly streaming tonight.
Your daughter's ballet recital. You'll have more. Twitch.
There's a bunch of ballets. Swan Lake. I'll
Bunch
do it
of
again.
them. She's all right.
She's good.
Yeah.
But-
Catch the next one.
Guess the next one. But yeah, find me there.
Frost, what about you?
I'll be on The Escapist, newly released. We're doing High on Life. It shall be Amy. Well, she messaged me saying to download it just in case it didn't go well for her. So we'll see what happens there. And then I've got my Twitters, my Twitch, the other Frost, which apparently I live on now because I can't even remember when I stream. So just assume daily or something.
You're streaming over there right now. You had no idea.
This doesn't count. This is code sharing. Like if I don't have to drive the OBS, I don't consider it.
I feel the same way. I've never streamed. I've only done 2 streams for The Escapist.
Yeah, see, Marty had the jimmies because he's like, I'm driving now. It's very
driving.
different.
Got the turds beforehand. I'm too worried.
But yeah, that's it for me.
Marty, how about you?
Yeah, same thing. Watch, go watch Frost and Amy play High on Life. The game's got a lot of goofs, got a lot of guffaws. It's gonna be demonetized because they do a lot of cusses. Go check that out.
Yeah, they do.
Nice. Okay. As for me, Steven Gears 9 on Twitch and Twitter. On the Open Party Twitch, Jeff will be joining me at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Super Smash Sunday. Ash, are you planning to hop back in with us or no?
I'm going to the church house today.
All right, Ash has religion to do.
I got religion
Smash
to
for
do.
him.
There's only one
What you
master
said.
hand in my life. His name is Lord.
I like that. I might use that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, keep checking on the Escapist site. A bunch of videos should be dropping soon. I literally just finished the end of the year 3MR showcase thingy that we did last year that you guys seem to like a lot. So that'll probably go up, if not next week, then the week after that. And I'll probably have another review, the actual review for the game I mentioned, Blacktail, drop on the site at some point this week as well. So once again, thanks everybody in chat. Very much appreciate you contributing to the conversation as you always do. And you know what? Share it with your friends. Let them know that we have fun times here. And this will be the last show for the next 2 weeks because next Sunday is Christmas and the Sunday after that is New Year's. Yeah, crazy. So see you next year. Take care, everybody.
Oh, next year. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.